remember there was a time when the narcissist had you right where they wanted you. They had you wrapped around their finger, under their thumb. When they said jump, you said, how high? And you were willing to do anything for them. You were willing to go to the ends of the earth for them. And yeah, they had you exactly where they wanted you. They already knew exactly what was going to happen. They pushed a certain button. They already knew exactly what reaction they were going to get out of you. And a lot of times they didn't even have to harm you, abuse you. But they could really irritate and confuse you. They could really upset you. They could get you emotional. They could get you feeling envious, jealous, wanting, desiring, lusting, longing, yearning. But what happens when they lose access to that? Because at some point, they will. They do. At some point, the narcissist overplays their hand because they take you for granted. They don't appreciate you. They don't appreciate how much you care and how much you're willing to do for them. They take all of this for granted. Your feelings, your passion, your enthusiasm, all of it. And so they end up abusing it, taking advantage of it, depleting it. And they do so much to you until you can no longer think clearly anymore, until you just feel numb inside. You don't feel anything. You feel empty. And they pull you in and out of this again and again. They deprive you of your consciousness. And then they bring you back to life. And they just go back and forth with it. And you become very used to what it's like to feel numb inside, to no longer feel so strongly towards them, to feel down, depressed, as though there's no meaning or purpose for you in your life. You get very used to that feeling. But then something clicks and you realize that actually no, there is a meaning to your life. There is a purpose for you. And you realize the truth that there's really no meaning to them. There's no purpose, no functionality for them in your life. Eventually you come to that conclusion, and then you realize, hold on a minute. Why am I pouring my heart, my emotions, my life, my passion? Why am I giving all of this to something that's never gonna be anything anyway? What's the point? Not just because at the end of the day you're left with feelings of grief, but because you're also being depleted until gradually there's nothing left. And so at some point you realize, what is the point? And so you become indifferent. You take your emotions, your passion away from them. You stop desiring them because you realize they're not yours anyway. Even though initially they presented themselves to you as though they were yours, as though they belonged to you, as though you had a say over certain things in their life, just as they did with you. But gradually you begin to realize it doesn't matter. And in fact, the more of your energy, your passion, your enthusiasm, your love, your heart that you pour into them, the more envious and jealous that you get, the more angry, the more upset, the more miserable, the more that you just want to give up and just die, the worse that it gets. That doesn't make it any better. So at some point you just conclude that, what is the point? Why should I care? Why should I get mad? Why should I get upset? Because whatever happens, I'm going to lose it all anyway. So why care? Why stress about it? Why fear anything that I have no control over? And that's the thing, because what many of you don't realize, at least not up until this point, is that the whole point of them getting you to care, provoking fear, envy, jealousy, the whole point of the devaluation, the abuse, making it out like there's all of these things wrong with you and that you're crazy or you're the abuser, guilt tripping you, playing the victim, triangulating you, comparing you, making you envious and jealous, making you feel like you're losing something, smearing your name, discrediting you, sabotaging you, assassinating your character, making you lose everything. The whole point of this entire thing, it's just to get a reaction out of you. It's just to get you to feel something so that they can feel like they matter to you, so that they can feel better about themselves, so that they can see themselves in a better light, because you became their reference point. They targeted you out of envy and they were constantly comparing themselves to you. So that's what this is all about. And when you realize this, when you wake up to this truth, they do lose you at that point. When you realize that that's all that this is for, is just to get you to care, just to get a reaction out of you, just to make you see them as something that they're not, something that they're never going to be, something that they don't even care about. When you realize that, it's game over. And yeah, that's just the intro for this video. We are now going to get into what actually happens when the narcissist realizes that they have lost you. So if that sounds good to you, give it a thumbs up. And now, let's get into it together. So the first thing they're likely to do is pull out a last-ditch Hoover attempt to try and pull you back in and regain control, because they feel you slipping away. They realize that they can no longer move you. So they may be doing all of these things behind your back. They may be smearing you, assassinating your character, going off with a new supply, sending you pictures of them in bed together, and trying to get you fired from your job, leaving you isolated at home, turned everyone against you. They may be doing all this stuff to you and so much more. But then they see that you're over it. You're just laying in the midst of the wreckage, the rubble, and you seem unaffected. So now they're trying to affect you in a different way. And even though they may have done all of this stuff to you and you may have lost everything, they'll still just come back like nothing happened and as though they want to start again. If they can get you to fall for it again and run you back through the cycle. So yeah, they may come back and hoover you to try and regain control over you. But if you are wiser and more aware of it now, you may notice that after everything they've done, and this is the funny thing, they are actually very bitter and resentful towards you. Even though it should be you who's that way towards them, because, you know, they've just messed up everything for you. They've ruined your life. They've destroyed your health. But they are actually the ones who think it's unfair. They're the ones who are bitter and resentful towards you because it's like they initially viewed you as perfect, so they expected you to do so much more. And it was never enough for them anyway. And not only that, but they felt dependent on you, so they resented you for that too. And they're viewing all of this as attacks on their character. You're making them feel not good enough. So even though they destroy everything for you, in their minds, it's still your fault. You still deserved it. And actually, you ruined things for them. You made them feel bad about themselves. You made them look bad. You made them have to do those things. And so they blame you for them destroying you. If that makes any sense, because it does make perfect sense to them. And this is why when they come back, if you're wiser and more aware, they're not so charming anymore. And it really just feels like desperation. They're just desperate to regain that control over you. Because again, you know, they're feeling insecure. They're feeling like they're not good enough. And they see it as though you've made them feel that way. So even though they're coming back and they may seem charming, they may seem nice, as though they genuinely want to make it up to you now, actually they're harboring a lot of resentment and they want to destroy you even worse than the last time. If you thought that was bad, it gets far worse the second time, the third time. They want to completely ruin you, just finish you off this time. And this is why you may notice that if you don't fall for the love bombing, the seduction, what happens? They play the victim to you. Even after they just try to obliterate you, they're playing the victim to you. They feel like it's unfair for them. They're guilt tripping you. They're trying to make you feel bad. They're trying to make you feel obligated for their lives, even though you just already, probably more than once, sacrificed everything for them. This is the mindset of a narcissist. It's very extreme, sinister, evil. I mean, it's pretty much whatever is the most messed up, extreme, over-the-top thing you could ever imagine. That's going to be the narcissist. And there's so many layers to it. You think that, you know, it's gone to a point now, it's got to end. There's got to be some compassion for you. There's got to be some love. No, they double down. They take it even further. And see, this is the problem with so many of you. You think if I just lay down, if I just let them do what they want to do with me, if I let them destroy everything, at some point, they got to wake up. They got to realize. But no, it never gets to that point. It gets more extreme. And it just keeps going on and on. There's never a time where they stop and think, oh no, look at what I've done to this person. They never think that way. As psychologist Dr. Ramley has mentioned in her videos, they have a shame abuse cycle. So they abuse you and then they feel shame. And that just makes them want to abuse you even more. They don't ever stop and come within because, you think it's painful for you, it's painful for them too. It's extremely painful for them to have to look in the mirror and see themselves, the monsters that they become. That's why they just run away from it. That's why you never get any accountability, any closure from them. They don't even want to give you the answers. They don't want to just be in that space. They're trying to run away from it. But yeah, it goes even further. I mean, when they know they've lost you, if they feel like you have anything, any friends, any partners, any potential in your life, any amount of money left in your account, just any possibility of you getting back up on your feet, they just want to kick you back down again. It's like, no, don't get back up. Don't hurt me. Don't remind me that you're better than me. Don't remind me that you can heal, you can recover, and I can't. Don't remind me of how dependent I am on you. So then they just go crazy and they just go around saying all these horrible things about you. Deep down they know that it's a lie, but they just tell everyone, you're a horrible person, you're an abuser, you're the narcissist. And they convince themselves because they look at it like, at the end of it, did they get what they wanted? Maybe they did, but are they satisfied? Do they feel better now? And of course they don't. So they manage to justify it in their minds of how it's your fault. And your pain, whatever happened to you, it doesn't matter. You deserved it. Because you were resistant to them. You opposed them. So that's all on you. And that gives them the right to go around and just destroy your reputation. Get you fired from your job. Turn everyone against you in their minds. But it goes even further than that. I mean, they also don't want to give you any validation. They don't want to let you know how great you are, how dependent on you they were, how good you did make them feel in the moment at times. They don't want you to know any of that. They resent you because they were so dependent on you and they couldn't do anything for themselves. They couldn't do a fraction of what you did for them, for you. So they don't want to let you know anything. And this is why they will just play dumb. They will just act stupid. They'll be indifferent to you. But of course, deep down, they know that, yes, you are greater than them. You have so much more potential. And this is why they will obsessively monitor you, because no matter what they've done to you, doesn't matter what it is, you being as amazing of a person that you are, they want to keep on seeing you suffer. And they never want it to stop, because anytime that you're not suffering, anytime that you're at peace, anytime that you feel good, for them, it's like, oh, here it goes again. They just feel like crap. It just becomes a constant reminder to them of how they're not enough, of how they abused you, and they're such a horrible person. So they need to keep seeing that suffering as much as they can. And they're also fascinated by you because, unlike them, they know that you are very adaptable, moldable. You can change, you can grow. Of course they know that. They play dumb, but they do know it. That's how the entire time they were grooming you, conditioning you, molding you into all sorts of the things that they want you to be. Because they know that you are the opposite of them. But they undermine all of that. They portray you as the abuser, you as the one who isn't adaptable, you who the one who is selfish. But really, deep down, they know it's the opposite. Of course they do. If they didn't, why would they invest all of that time and effort grooming you, manipulating you? It's because they know that you're susceptible to it. And that's why when they know they've lost you, one of the first things they do when they come back is they try and love bomb you again. So they act dumb, but no, they do know that it's them and not you They are aware of that. That's why they're the ones who are stalking you, because they have doubts, they have insecurities. And if it's ever you who's stalking them or wondering about what they're doing, it's because you're left without answers. Because of the shame they're trying to avoid, they don't give you any closure. So that's the difference there. Thank you for the donation. Raw till us death. Appreciate it. But yeah, they will be obsessively monitoring you, and it's not just about seeing you suffer, but they are also waiting for you to get back up on your feet, climb out of their pit of misery, because they know with you, you are different to them. You can pick yourself back up on your feet. You can heal, you can grow, you can be better. They're aware of all of this. This is why they obsessively monitor you. And not just because maybe they don't want that to happen. They don't want to see you escape from outside of their control, but also find your freedom, independence, autonomy, all of the things that they stripped away from you. But also because any time that you're free, anytime that you have something to invest into something, such as into yourself, because of their arrogance and their entitlement and their delusions of how they're just the best thing since sliced bread, they're perfect, as they have to believe to avoid reflecting on their feelings of shame. They want to come back any time that they see that you are recovering, so that they can get a piece of the action. But really, even though they act like they're coming back and they give you the fake apologies, like they want to make amends, no, they just want to take it all from you again. They want to strip you of your autonomy completely and just destroy you as a punishment for keeping them out, for setting the boundaries, and for focusing on yourself, taking what's theirs, because they see it as though they own you, as though you are their possession. So in their minds, you don't have a right to your peace. You don't have a right to your freedom, independence, autonomy. That belongs to them now. But yeah, if they do see you moving on, they're going to feel very insecure about it. They're going to feel envious, jealous. So you're taking something that's rightfully theirs. They take that as an attack on themselves. So then they go off and they find a new supply. They flaunt it in front of you. They try and make you feel like you've lost something. Really, they're just going off and they're pretending to be you with someone else. That's all that it is. And that's how you feel like you've lost something. You haven't lost anything. They're just actors. They're completely fake. Con artists. But yeah, they will rewrite the story to paint themselves as the victim. And that's typically how they get in with the new supply, by playing the victim to them. After everything blew up with you, they just act like you were the abuser, you did these things to them. And that's what gets them in the door with a new source. And of course, they're lying to themselves. They're delusional. They really have to make themselves believe it. Of course, somewhere inside of them, they do know that it's not true. And this is why they continue to monitor you. They obsess over you. Everything's just based off of you. And they can't let you get better. They can't let you move on. They can't let you get away with anything that's a part of you. They have to take it all away from you, because it all becomes a reminder to them of how they are the abusers, they are the destroyers, they are the bad people and not you. But yeah, it gets to a point, out of their desperation, their attention seeking, their manipulation becomes even more obvious and unrefined. And some of it just gets shocking. It's like they're not even really putting any effort into it. Like some of the things that they do, like some of the wrongful acts that they commit, the crimes, the gaslighting, it's just all so sloppy. And there's so many loopholes in it. It's like they try and tell a story and it just doesn't add up. It doesn't make any sense. Like if you really think about it, it's like, so what's your story behind this then? How did this happen? How did this get to this? And that's just it. You can't even talk to them. You can't even ask them any questions about it. Because there's no logic, no reasoning to it. This is just a child's fantasy world that they've created to make themselves feel better. And you become a threat to that. But yeah, even after they've done all of these things to you, once they know they've lost you and they can't get back in to finish you off, and if you are one of the lucky ones where you manage to get away, you set the boundaries, you've got a good support network, and they do see you moving on, constant drilling going on you. But yeah, if they do see you moving on, they will mock your growth to make themselves feel superior. So they're just going to play it all down. If they can't get to it, if they can't affect it, then it's all about how you're fake, you're the one who's the con, you're the one who's manipulating people, and what you're doing isn't that great. It just becomes all about that then, when they can't get to it, to sabotage it. But yeah, this is why you see all of this reckless, erratic behavior. It's driven by their need for control, which is driven by their insecurities of not feeling good enough. But yeah, they spiral without your emotional reactions. But it's kind of funny because remember how they mocked you for that? Remember how they mocked you for that? They made you feel like you were too sensitive. They made you feel bad about it. All of the times that they were pushing your buttons and they wired you in a certain way to react, they had you losing your mind. You may have developed schizophrenic traits, stuttering, unable to think straight. Maybe they broke you down so much that you just started crying. Many of you, including myself, I wanted to take my own life at one point. And they mock you for all of that. They shame you, humiliate you for it, sometimes publicly, in front of everyone. They say, oh, you're just so overreacting, so sensitive, such a baby, you're so weak. And the irony is, they are dependent on you for these things. This is why they work so hard, because this is what they want more than anything, are your emotional reactions. And that's why without it, they spiral. Your silence becomes their worst fear. And this is why when they know they're losing you, they come back just with anything to just bait a reaction out of you. Because that's just it, Never listen to a narcissist. It's always reverse psychology with them. You never trust them. You never take their advice. Typically, as I've heard actually a number of psychologists on YouTube say this, but typically whatever a narcissist tells you, it's usually the opposite. So that's some food for thought there. But yeah, that has to be their worst nightmares, when you've seen through their mask and they know that you won't return. After they idealized you, they viewed you as perfect, you were this provider, this excellent source of supply for them. And, you know, it's not all about money. Actually, that's a very small part of it. Giving money, giving a place to stay, these types of residual benefits. The most important thing is the reactions, how you're making them feel. And even when you're giving them something, it's still about the feelings, how it makes them feel about themselves, and you're providing that to them, often through your reactions. So that's what they're really missing. That's what they really want. So it's not so much about you providing or giving them money. It's more that you care, that they matter to you. It's like, you know, they view you as their parent. They want you to take care of them. And, you know, that's how they view it, is that if you're willing to do things for them, if you're willing to make sacrifices, then that must mean that you care. That must mean that they matter to you. So this is how they're thinking. 103 live viewers, give it a thumbs up if this is good for you so far. Good to see so many of you joining for this deep dive description of what happens when a narcissist knows they've lost you. But yeah, let me know down below if you've got any questions. Drop it in the live chat. Or if you have anything else to add. Tell me what happened when the narcissist knew they lost you. How did they respond to that? I mean, I've seen all sorts of things. I've definitely experienced everything I've already talked about on multiple occasions. You got to remember, you know, when you're dealing with a narcissist, there is no cut-off point for the abuse. Never gets better, never ends. It gets more and more extreme. Just more and more crazier, more and more irrational. My water in here is stuck right at the bottom of the bag. But yeah, never underestimate them. There's no extreme that it won't go to. There are no values, there are no morals, no boundaries, separation. There's no limit. There is nothing that they won't do. I mean, just look before, you may have thought, you know, they're bad, but they're not that bad. There are certain things they won't do. And they may have even said to you they would never do this. They will do it. Given the opportunity, given the chance where they won't have to be held accountable for it, then they will do it. There's nothing that they won't do. I mean, just look back and think. There were so many times where they could have chosen to have morals. They could have chosen to have said, you know, this is wrong. This is something we shouldn't do. They still did it. They will do anything. Don't ever think that they have any sense of character, identity, values, morals. They do not. Narcissists, they will pretty much do anything. And even if there's something they haven't done, maybe they just don't feel like they want to do it yet. They haven't seen the opportunity. It could be a matter of time. And they only have to do it once for them to have then done it. Until it then becomes normal to you then. Because of course, when they do something, They normalize it. You have to see it as acceptable from that point on. That's how they've programmed you to see it. This is how it gradually becomes more extreme with time, because these people have no morals, no values, nothing. There's no boundaries, not even for themselves. They set no boundaries for themselves. They do anything. And this is what makes them so dangerous. Because for myself, I do enjoy having discipline, self-control. And it definitely gives me a sense of character, identity, fulfillment in life as well. It makes me feel very good about myself to know, I won't do practically any of the things that narcissists do. I won't go around betraying people and feeling good about it, stealing from them, lying to them, cheating on them, getting them fired from their job, making them lose all their money, ruin their lives. I won't ever be doing that to anyone. And if that thought ever even crossed my mind, I would feel deep shame. But then at the same time, it makes me feel good to know that I am me. I have a character. I have boundaries around myself. I have discipline. And, that's definitely something that has contributed to my happiness in my life, such as refraining from eating meat, fish, dairy products, and going to the gym, avoiding caffeine, energy drinks, coffee. Just depending on myself and my own energy to get me through life. And that's really it, this is why Buddhist monks are so disciplined and so at peace. When you are undisciplined, when you have no morals, no values, no discipline, how could you ever feel good about yourself? When you will just settle for anything. When deep down you know that it's not acceptable. You know it's not what good people do. And that's just it, This is why I don't even think about revenge or anything like that. I don't want to become like them. And not only that, but that is the ultimate revenge. To not get in their mud with them. You just draw that line and you're like, yeah, okay, you did this. Well, this is you and this is me. This is me on the other side. I'm nothing like you. And yeah, you have to live with that for the rest of your life. But this is how you know they're probably going to come back, because wherever they go out in the world, it's going to be very lonely for them. It's not going to be a good experience. Whatever they do, they're not going to be happy with anything, because themselves is a part of it, and they have to live with themselves for the rest of their lives. That is the ultimate karma. I can't imagine anything worse than that. Than knowing that you've done these sick, horrible things, and those are your actions, with your own mind, your own hands, and you have to live with that now. You have to spend the rest of your life doing anything you can to run away from the shame. This is why I don't bother getting revenge. And also because I don't want to have to live with that. But also what I will say, for those of you, myself included, those of us who have acted out of character at times, you got to remember that's a completely different situation. And you most definitely should process the shame and let go of it. It does not belong with you. And let me explain how it's different, right? They engaged in coercive control, a very specific thing. They cornered you brainwashed you, indoctrinated you. They took control of your mind, everything. They wired you a certain way, pushed all of the buttons. So you are the victim. They are the abusers. And your reactions, that's really part of being a victim. And we know this, this is what happens when someone is constantly pushed and provoked back to a corner. They've got nowhere else to go. Of course, they're going to have certain reactions. You are human. You're not a robot. So it wasn't that you made choices. You didn't really have a choice. They always have choices. They have places they can go. They chose to come around you. They chose to do the things that they did. You were just the effect of it. They were the cause. They were the source of all of it. They wanted it. They wanted those reactions. And they did everything they possibly could to get it. And when you know this, it relieves you. It absolves you of the guilt, the shame, by knowing that it is not yours to carry. And, I have been keeping up with the reports on the Diddy case. And I know that there's still more to come, but from what I can see, it does seem as though this is what happened with Cassie. She was wired a certain way, she was conditioned, trauma bonded, and it was coercive control, and that's how she got involved in the freak offs. And she even told Diddy, she's looking forward to it, to try and please him, because you know how he is. So it's a similar thing there. And that's what I would say to Cassie, is that it's no shame for you. You were the victim. It's not your fault. You were pushed into being that way, and it's completely understandable. When you have this awareness of this, when you've studied this disorder, it makes perfect sense. Of course, it's not something you could just get over overnight. It does take time to process the emotions, to fully get over it. And, you just got to give it time. It is a journey. I just try to enjoy the journey of self-growth and learning more about yourself. But yeah. I've been working on another gang stalking video where we're going to be going into much deeper, more extreme gang stalking tactics. And this includes V2K, MK Ultra, energy weapons, and so much more. So, yeah, we'll be going much deeper into the gang stalking world to uncover the tactics they use and how you can protect yourself. But even now, I'm still keeping the gang stalking videos quite generalized to, just draw in as many viewers, subscribers as I can. And then I will begin going deeper into it as well. So just give it time. But first, we're going to start off with more general videos. And, over the past few months, even the past few weeks, we've drawn in a lot of new subscribers already. So clearly, there's a lot of people going through this. And, this is what you've got to remind yourself of. And it may even help you to kind of laugh at it in a way. I mean, I don't want to invalidate anyone's situation. Of course not. And, I go through it myself. But when you realize that it's not just you and them, and it's far greater than that, or it's all of these people in the world, often at the exact same time. I could be seeing gang stalking now. It could be all the red cars coming down. And then you think, there's someone else, like over there somewhere, however many kilometers, hundreds of kilometers, whatever. And they're experiencing the exact same thing. And there's people in all sorts of directions all around you. And it's all going on at the same time. So when you realize that, it becomes a bit more humorous. And that's really how you've got to look at it. It's not just you and them. It's so many others at the same time. And it's kind of funny when you think about it like that. Because that's just it, what really makes it seem more serious and more unfair is when it is just you and them. But when you realize, no, this is going on everywhere, it's happening to so many people, then it helps you to get through it. But yeah, despite that, I don't want to invalidate anyone's situation. And of course, what you're going through is very wrong. You do not deserve to go through that. And it doesn't matter who you are. I hear things like, some people, maybe they're out on parole. Maybe they did a crime years ago. Even in those cases, there's still no excuse. Like anything that you're meant to have done wrong or anything you're meant to have done years ago, these things should be dealt with the law. What these people are doing is illegal and they are criminals. And don't you ever forget that. No matter who you are. Even if it's something where, I don't know, maybe we're going through something and, I of course, I don't accept or ever try to justify, as an example, stealing. But let's say, someone was going through something years ago, as an example, and they stole something from a shop or from someone. And then they got caught, they got arrested, they did time for it. And yeah, fair enough, that's the system that we have is, if you commit a crime, then you are disciplined, you are punished or rehabilitated. And that's just the law, that's the system. That's how it works. But what about when that person gets out of prison and then they are being gang stalked? Now that's where it becomes illegal. And that's when that person becomes the victim and they are the ones dealing with the criminals. So it's no excuse, even if there's people out there who have done things wrong, even committed crimes, it's still the same thing. And as for myself, so many crimes have being committed against me, and if I had the power to, I'm not going to gang stalk anyone. I deal with things the right way through the law because I am not a criminal. And I am a law-abiding, upstanding citizen of society. It doesn't mean that I'm perfect, of course, but I try to be the best person that I can be. I have empathy, compassion for people. And you should, that's what gives us the right to live in society. But yeah, what I'm saying is, there's no excuse for gang stalking. Don't ever blame yourself for that. Don't ever think that it's ever anything that you've done wrong. There is no justification for it. There isn't. You have the right to live your life in peace. You have the right to be comfortable. But yeah, never forget it. Always remind yourself of it. Don't let these people blame you. Don't let them guilt you. It's because they know you're a good person. It's because, unlike them, they know that you will feel bad. It will upset you. It will get to you. Because you're a genuine person who wants to be liked. You want to be accepted. You want to do the best that you can do. You want to be the best person that you can be. So, don't let them use that against you. And instead, recognize the beauty of these qualities that you have. And just thank God that you're not like them. Thank God that you can self-reflect. You can take accountability. But don't let it go too far, realize that, this is not your stuff. You shouldn't feel bad or guilty for what's being done to you. So remind yourself of that. And just know, that we are all with you. We all support you. And you are valued in our community. So, yep. I'm gonna keep putting out the gang stalker videos. And yeah. So that's it for this one. When the narcissist knows they've lost you. If this brought clarity and understanding to you, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here, subscribe. Hit the bell icon to be notified when I go live again or upload a new video. And if you would like personal one-on-one guidance with me, with over 7.5 years of research on narcissism, gang stalking, and other personality disorders, hundreds of people that I've coached, including doctors, I am available for one-on-one coaching sessions, which you can book by going to narcsurvivor.co.uk. And I also appreciate your donations, no matter how small. You can donate by going to paypal.me/narcsurvivor. I've also got my Instagram. You can follow me on there. It is Narc Survivor YouTube. Facebook group, it's called Narc Survivor. And yeah, keep safe, protect yourselves out there. Be aware that these predators are lurking. And yeah, keep educating yourself. Grow wiser together. And I'll talk to you in another Narc Survivor live video very soon.